Hi, I'm Dave. Welcome back. So, today I've been thinking, not on a particular point, but more after the events over the weekend in the UK, more philosophical question regarding the use of violence and self-defense, whether that's on a personal level or on a revolutionary level. Okay, so before I go on, if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe, click the bell to get your notifications, and please everybody do smash the like button and show that you appreciate the videos I put out. Okay, so self-defense. What do I mean by it? Well, everybody has the right to defend themselves against being attacked. You also have the right to defend other people against being attacked. You have a right to defend your property, but you should also have the right to defend your way of life. Now, this is where it goes into the philosophical side, because that concept of your way of life, as well as being a very individual thing, also varies from country to country, continent to continent, culture to culture. So, let's start simple. Nice simple one. If somebody throws a punch at you, you have a right to defend yourself. If that means that you have to assault that person in order to prevent yourself being assaulted, that is your own justification. But if you have to do that in order to prevent yourself being seriously harmed, then as I said, you have a right to defend yourself. Can you defend yourself preemptively? Okay? If somebody picks up a weapon and it looks like they're about to hit you with it, do you have to wait until you are hit before you respond? No, you don't. You can defend yourself preemptively if that attack is imminent. Okay, and that goes the same for other people. So if you think somebody else is being attacked or somebody else is about to be attacked, you can defend them. You can defend your home. I know there seems to be a lot of grey areas in terms of what can you do when it comes to protecting your home, but you can protect your home. You can defend yourself and you can defend your home. Okay, and I do encourage you to read up on the laws around protecting your home, rather than listen to a lot of the right-wing media who like to put stuff out there saying you're not allowed. Okay, because anything that says you are not allowed to defend yourself in your own home is absolute tosh, and you need to know the truth. Okay, but I could spend hours just going into that topic. Okay, but as I said, you have a right to defend yourself. However, retribution is often misconstrued with self-defense. Somebody comes up, punches you, they're in the wrong, you get up, you go chasing them down, and you punch them back. You cannot claim self-defense because the attack was over, it's gone, it's done. It's no longer a threat to you, so you can't say that's an attack on yourself. So it's now retribution. You're getting your own back. Okay, so like I said, starting nice and simple. Now, sometimes, is there a justification for using violence to defend yourself against something that's not violent? Yeah, there is. And again, this is a whole topic in itself. Yeah, if, for instance, you found yourself in a situation where, let's put it into a relationship situation. If you found yourself in a relationship where your rights are being oppressed, you weren't allowed to go out, you weren't allowed to meet people, you weren't allowed to have the job that you wanted, your money was being controlled, and you weren't allowed access to a phone, and you had no other means of escaping the oppression of your rights and your freedoms other than resorting to violence, can you justify the violence? Yeah. Okay. The justification for use of violence can be there. As I said before, any use of violence is always the justification of the person involved. Okay? You can't come up to me and say, I did this, how do I justify it? No, that's your justification. You have to be able to say what was going through your head, how you were feeling, what made you do the thing that you did. Okay? And you know what? 99.9% of the time, as long as you are absolutely honest about the reasons you did it, then you will justify it. But as I said, make sure you don't cross over into retribution. Okay? As I said, that whole chasing somebody down later on and punching them back, it's different. Okay? So you can use violence to prevent violence if there's no other means. Justification. You can use violence in a non-violent oppressive situation when your rights are being withheld. Okay? And again, the justification is always down to the person who's having to use it. But what's going on at the moment? People are protesting, and can't say we didn't see this coming. I am not going to stand here and justify for or against violence. If people have been protesting and they felt that need for violence, it is for them to justify. Okay? Are there situations where violence is called for? Yeah, there have been, yeah. If it wasn't for violence, you wouldn't have had civil uprisings in countries where people have reclaimed their freedoms. If you didn't have violence, then people wouldn't have escaped slavery. If we didn't have violence, many situations would not have ended. But we have to look, where is that line drawn? And again, I'm not going to try and justify it. I'm just muddling over thoughts myself, really. Okay, so we're in a situation at the moment. I like to think that in the UK, this is probably one of the most liberal countries of the world. We have our shortfallings, granted, but we do pride ourselves on our freedoms, our tolerances, and our liberties. What we have at the moment is we have a government in place who are trying to put a bill through. It's gone through its first reading in Parliament, which, amongst other things, is trying to give themselves the power to write new laws and put them in place without scrutiny of Parliament, trying to suppress the non-violent protests, controlling the noise levels, the locations. Essentially, they're trying to stop people being able to protest outside Parliament and give themselves powers to change things as and when they see fit, if they need to, without that scrutiny. Okay? Are we surprised? Well, we shouldn't be. Since 2016, Boris Johnson has been saying that he didn't like the European Convention on Human Rights. He wanted to do away with human rights, and this is just another step towards that. It is an attack on our rights, the right to protest, the right to be seen, the right to be heard, the right to stand up against your government peacefully. So, whilst we still have the right for peaceful protest, how do we justify violence? Again, that comes down to the individuals. So it's just food for thought. Now, if you're angry with this and you're just attacking things and damaging things because you're angry, this goes back to the whole, is it just retribution? So, burning police cars, burning police stations, is that making a political point? Is that achieving anything? Or is it just violence? It goes back to the same point. Now, if it gets to the point where rights have been removed and you lose that non-violent means of defending your rights and your liberties, then no government can ever be surprised if you end up with a violent uprising. It's happened in the past, it can happen in the future. It's the justification of the people when they feel that has to happen. But again, it's that word, it's that justification. But not just justification, but also proportionality. So as I said, when you've got a government putting a bill through that's passed its first reading and there is opposition to it, which it's still got to go through all the scrutiny of Parliament, okay, to go out and cause violence and to cause damage, you have to justify doing that. what was the point? What was the end goal? What was it to achieve? And what was it protecting? Okay, and these are questions you have to ask yourself if you were there and you were involved. I'm not going to, as I said, justify it for you. I'm not going to justify against it for you. This is for you. Me, I couldn't justify it personally. Okay, if my rights were removed completely and I had no peaceful means by which to enforce the rights that I believe that we should have, if I could no longer vote, if I could no longer protest, then yes, then I might be swaying towards acts of violence. As I said, this is how uprisings happen. This is how oppressive governments are forced out. I'm hoping we don't ever get to that stage in 21st century Britain. Okay, I really do, because personally, I would prefer non-violent means. I would only ever, for me, justify the use of force if it's an absolute last resort. Okay, but in any situation, in any protest, there's always going to be that element, that small minority of people who do just want the chaos, the violence, the carnage. Okay, and it makes other people look bad. But what we have at the moment as well is, when you're trying to argue that you need the right for non-violent protest and you're arguing that case by protesting violently, it doesn't help the cause. So the justification is there for you, but please think on it. Think on your justification. Okay? As I said, at the moment, we still have non-violent means by which we can deal with these things that are going through. And we need to play out all of those non-violent means before we call out that last resort. Justifications are different for everybody, different situations, and different countries, different communities. So it's not a straightforward question, and I'm not here to say this is right, this is wrong. It's just food for thought. What is self-defense of the person, of others, of property, and of our rights and liberties? And how far can we go, and at what point? And what's the end goal and the proportionality of that violence if it gets there? Okay, it's really not a simple question, but it's certainly something that everybody has to ask, because if you are not engaging in violence when violence is called for, you have to justify why you are on the sidelines. If you are using violence when it is not justified, then you have to give your reason. You have to be the one to justify your individual decisions. Okay, so as I said, it's just me mulling over a lot of ideas at the moment about self-defense, personally, other people, property, and life and liberty and freedom. Okay, I'll leave it with you. Mull it over, think it through. If there's anything you want to say on the matter, as you know, you can always leave me a comment, and I'm happy to discuss it with people. So, and again, thanks for watching to the end. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.